host. And I'm Kingsley, the co-presenter for the show, taking Konnekt Afrik down to the streets, getting deep down information from the streets.
He's always got his ears to the ground.
Guys, we're speaking to the baby mama guy. He loves baby mamas, don't he?
He was so passionate about single mothers. It was sweet.
I'm loving it.
Latest gossip, yes, I am there.
Very hot gossip. very hot gossip. So what were we doing on the streets, Kingsley?
We had a very nice topic, and that was about, do Nigerian men spend a little bit too much money on women?
Nigerian men spend too much money on women.
When I am dead or alive, you have to still pay. Wow.
Because the street is watching.
Yeah.
So there's no cooking she does, it has to be stockfish in it. Whereas I get fed up of stockfish after a while. I want variety.
You don't know Morocco. You don't know.
And mostly, you see that Yorubas are their women are the most beautiful and their men are the most handsome. Yeah, Yorubas are
Praise God.
Yeah.
How many days or how long does it take for an Igbo baby boy to be circumcised?
7 days.
Yorubas, they love dressing well.
Cultural, some traditional food, Yoruba traditional food.
Yeah, they got a lot of foods, but the one I like most is eba, and which is really popular food in Yoruba land.
Yes.
I don't know some other part of Nigeria. They try to take over.
What do you mean take over? What does it mean take over?
Very. You look at
handsome.
most people around here, they are Yorubas. Our standing, the way we do, the way we move, even though we're dancing, we are so conscious,
So conscious
of what we are
yes.
doing.
Yeah.
So that's why in Yorubas, you can never see an inferiority complex.
They're like the Jews in a way. They kind of make money. They find a way to make money where things that you think might be silly or doesn't look important, an evil person will find a way to turn it around to make money.
What culture of the Yorubas do you know?
Well, the one I like the most is the parties.
Okay.
Because
They know how to party.
yeah, because you eat a lot of meat,
Oh my God, no.
Something about the apprenticeship in Igbo culture. You know, when a young man serves his master.
Yeah, that's Iduno.
Iduno. That's another culture.
Speaking our languages to our children, which we're supposed to be doing, for them to know where they
come from.
Where they come from. Yoruba people, they are good in that. But we, the Igbos, we are very bad because we just want to be like the whites. Why we are not the white? We are not white. We are Africans, and we are Igbos. We're supposed to teach our children our languages, so that sometimes when you are communicating in the house, you communicate your language. Or in time of anything happen and somebody come in, you can speak to your child in Igbo, and she will understand or he will understand what you're saying, and everything will be okay. But when you don't speak your language and maybe something happened, and there is no way you can speak English in front of whosoever that is there.
The other cultures, they want to marry Yoruba because we do take care of our wives very well.
Okay.
Even though your wife, you might marry her so slim, by the time, couple of weeks, years, you will see from the backyard that something great is happening from there.
One thing about Igbo is that many of them, only few of them marry outside their area.
Yeah, there's one we call Adalu.
Adalu. Which one is the Adalu? Tell me what. How is it?
Adalu is beans and corn together.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very good food. I love it.
We have the New Year Festival, we'll have the Masquerade Festival,
Yeah.
we'll have the one is called
Okazi Festival.
Okazi.
We still have the Okazi Festival and
I know Ogun Festival.
yeah.
I know Oshun Festival.
Yes.
I know Obatala.
Obatala.
I know Shango.
Shango. Shango is like the god of
Thunder,
thunder.
but I
Yeah?
say
In some parts of the world, if somebody dies, it takes, let me say, within the week they've already buried the person. But in the Igbo culture, you know how it goes down.
Yeah, in the Igbo culture, if you don't have money, you keep the dead body away till you get some money, right?
And it accumulates more debt.
And it robs people off. Yeah.
So that's something we should.
No, but you know that's the culture, and that culture is strong.
If you were to marry a Caribbean today, what would your mom say about that?
Well, my mom, she'll be shocked, but at the same time, she'll mind it.
Yeah.
Sometimes she'll be shocked, but then at the end of the day, like it would be kind of a little thing because my mom knows that I hang around with a lot of Caribbean.
You marry an African woman.
I am looking for one right now.
You said you wouldn't get married to a Caribbean.
No.
You wouldn't get married. Okay, do you go to Caribbean clubs?
I go to Caribbean clubs, but that's just a culture. That's a British culture we've got here. I'd rather, that's a British culture.
Do our things. But you wouldn't get married to a Caribbean.
I wouldn't get married. I've got nothing against them.
Africans actually came from all over Africa and they were taken through countries such as
Ghana, Nigeria, the western
Senegal.
part.
Absolutely, and forcibly taken to the Caribbean, to the South Americas, Brazil, Guyana, Suriname, to the Central America.
Sometimes, like, you know, sometimes it's like kind of raves and that, and it's like African versus Caribbean, like African versus Caribbean. So that's the time that, like, we know, we all like, no, they're all like, no, the Caribbeans are better than Africans, and they're all like, no, Africans are better than Caribbeans. And then, like, it just bunches it all up, and then we're there doing dance competitions to see which continent is better. But at the end of the day, we all associate together, but there always be that little thing like, yeah, Africans are better than Caribbean, no, Caribbeans are better than Africans.
Because we've been taught for many years history that's not our own, so we do not know our connectivity, our connectedness with our African root.
Africa's a nice place. I've seen views of Africa, you know what I'm saying?
What views? What views? Good point of views. Okay, what kind of views? Tell me.
Like the land itself, you know what I'm saying? It's nice safari and all that, you know what I'm saying? I would love to see the big animals.
Nice safari.
The Africans from Africa do not know their own brother, their kith and kin in the Americas and in the Caribbean. As many of the Caribbean people, Africans in the Caribbean and Africans in America do not know their kith and kin in Africa.
Typical African states in Africa is just like wood grain. The perception. Do you think that we kind of relate to our African brothers as Caribbeans like we're supposed to?
No, we're not. And we should do it, get on with it and get in there and start communicating a lot more.
Garvey was an African. He was born in Jamaica.
Okay.
And he actually developed the program of Back to Africa.
We've been in England too long, and I think we're first generation. My mum came over when she was 16. We lost our way.
I've got a bond with Caribbean and African people, but my bond is stronger with the Africans.
With the Africans?
Yeah.
Is it a problem of identity?
I think so.
They have a problem with identity.
Very much. I'm born and bred here, and I lost my identity, but I found it 20 years ago. How it happens is very simple. If you live here, you can go on holiday as often as you should back home. You know, like other nationalities do.
So, what would be your advice? What would be your advice for us to, get back?
To get back?
Draw back, like get in touch more, get more closer bond between the Caribbeans, the West Indies, and the African brothers, get back into that close side. Do you think it's something that kind of...
Caribbean now, it's the three of us, our input, and see it as a very good masterpiece on its own. But individually, I have my own interpretation to what I'm looking at. When we first of all started, Glory make a sketch of a face, slant it this way. Eddie prefer it on the normal portrait size. And when I look at it, I saw both faces, but yeah, I saw some like a glass of wine turning upside down.
I try and scrape some definition in and have, you know, the actual canvas coming through, if you can. I mean, I don't think you need to be afraid of it, but, you know, once something gets built up a little bit too much, then it can kind of, you know, the form gets lost.
Wow. Artists have many ideas. Some of the ideas to me sometimes are weird. But the ideas.
So, I just enjoy the details of it. You know?
And what I'm seeing here, despite it is being done by 3 different people, which are timeless to be the wise men. And what has the wise man? Gold. I pour my gold. Joe has poured his myrrh, and Eddie has come to pour his frankincense.
I actually like the initial drawing, I like the initial mark making, but as it progressed, the colours began to mix and the emotions became scattered, and there was no real definition. So what I had to do is I ended up having to scrape some stuff back and try and add orange to just give the face structure so it is a face. So you have eyes, because if you can't see the eyes, then you can't really see emotions. Like anybody, if someone was talking to you and the eyes were kind of half shut, you know, there's a lot of mark making, but you need some kind of space to actually make the mark making make sense. So what I was trying to do is actually trying to get some structure, so it's not just a collection of marks, it's actually, you know, some kind of picture, some type of, like if you were to look, it's some type of, it has some kind of form.
I was just thinking, why don't we do something together and just paint this one painting, the 3 of us together? So, in that, I realized that in order to paint something together, since we are 3 different artists, we all have to let go of our idea of how we want it to be, but we just have to kind of go randomly with what we feel.
This painting which we've done so far, we are giving it out to Konnekt Afrik. Yeah, that's just it. As long as it leaves the studio and goes out to Konnekt Afrik, it's a complete painting.
Good thing about these paintings are they don't just stay for 1 year or 2 years or 20 years. They stay for as long as they are being preserved. And we need to appreciate this more. Out there, you know, if you're a black person, try as much as possible, appreciate the work of art being done by our artists. Go out there, you've got the cash, buy some painting. I have to say thank you to the 3 guys, Edward Ofosu, Titus Agbara, and Charles Glory. Wonderful men, they are representing. I think their work should be, you know, encouraged.
In Africa, there's always the same. My manager will tell you that any place we go to, at least 15% of whatever we get, we're gonna take it to the charity. You know?
Preach, right?
I mean, there's the first single titled Finest year, and it goes like this, yeah? You're the finest, I can't deny this, yeah. Of the girls that I see every day. More you beautiful, no one can change it, yeah. You was made for a reason and I know that is me, you know. Preach!
When you talk about like helping others, like in the music aspect, there are artists that are big today that you wouldn't come out formally and say we are behind these guys, but you guys know these guys. You guys know the bracket.
J.
Martins.
These are the guys we
brought out and.
I wonder which kind of work we do this entertainers and then they enjoy pass.
Go by the name C Block. Yep. Got my album coming out soon. And this track is like the first single of the album. It's a track for the girl them. But you don't know, it's a feel good thing, so the man them are gonna feel it as well. Let's go, hit it. But you got something like this. What make that girl ya wine so? The way she a wine. That girl ya wine so. The way she a wine. What make that girl ya wine so? The way she a wine, what make that girl a wine so? The way she a wine.
Hello to you.
I'm okay.
Yeah, one name from, I know you can't understand what I'm saying, but yeah, this is my brother from the same, you know, Igbo, Nigeria, here representing, and I'm going to be asking him about intertribal marriages. The intertribal marriage from parents saying no. What do you think has started that?
Being from Africa, being from Nigeria, I actually think a lot of our parents would probably prefer if you marry someone from Nigeria. That's the first thing. And the second bit is actually like they would prefer it if the person is actually from their tribe. But if it's not from their tribe, that's another thing because they will want to know how you're going to go about it. Do you know anything about the culture or what are we supposed to do?
From time immemorial, you know, because of the maybe relationship between the Igbos and the Hausas, you know, and Nigeria is like three different regions, you know. So these people, they get scared of each other and another thing, you know.
Yeah, as we dream towards unifying Africa, these are the key things that we must do. We must intermarry, you know, so that we get to know each other more. Because that's how that's the only way we can live together and, you know, work together and develop Africa together. I think it's actually down to, because people prefer when something is like, if you're from Yoruba, if I marry someone from Yoruba, they don't really have to like do anything special, or I mean they would probably just you know, go from experience. I mean they've been to a lot of weddings, they've been to a lot of engagement ceremony.
So are you saying it's the ceremony that it's
No, it's not that. I would probably say it's the difference in culture.
Because of differences, you know, of the background, the culture. Because of the culture. Because the Hausas, they have their own culture, Yorubas have their own culture, Igbo have their own culture.
But if you love somebody, wouldn't it be nice for you to actually take the time to study or get to know their culture, the way they do things?
That's why they should to encourage tribal marriage. So that you learn from people. Culture is learning other people's culture. It's good to learn from other people's culture.
The difference in culture.
Yeah, because like, you know, if you're going to marry a Yoruba person, you know, I mean, you know, like your culture already. So it's just like you want to speak a different language as well. You have to learn it. So first of all, it's like, you know, who you're going to marry will probably tell you this is how we do it. So these are things that need to happen when encouraged. But not to say once they're married they should forget their cultures. No, they should always teach their children those two different cultures. And then the children will be more richer and there'll be a new generation with more understanding.
Should people actually substitute their love just for the consent of their parents, or, you know?
This is modern time, you know. You have to move on.
You have to move on.
Yeah, you have to move on. You have to convince your parents that they're capable of doing that, you know. You take the risk on your own.
And move on.
But in the region, they also, it's something like, I don't know what they call it, in this modern time, they call it like racism. The Igbos, among the Igbos, you know.
Even among the
Igbos. This one said this person from Imo State, this one from Anambra, and this from other places, you know.
Even as small as that.
As small as that,
they still disagree.
Do you speak Yoruba?
No.
You
but
don't?
my mum does, no.
Or your mom does?
Yeah. Grew up here, my 6 years of primary school. So it was kind of, it was different. The environment, the people, the way of living.
How was the environment?
Dirty. Rough.
Afrik, tell us about it. For all the Nigerian people watching.
We have some nice places. I did stay in Marigold Gardens.
Okay, which is a nice place in
Very
Lagos.
lovely place.
That's in Lagos, right?
Yes, it is in Lagos, yeah.
Okay.
Very, very lovely place. But then I moved down to Kitty.
Wow.
That's where I'm from.
Okay, before you say anything, what do you say about Ketu?
It's a lot.
Don't say because he's here, just say it.
Do you know what? I actually love the environment. I love, you know, the people there. Yeah, they can come on a bit aggressive, but, you know, if you get to know them, they're actually kind of loving people.
What do you like about Nigeria for the 1 or 2 weeks you were there?
I like how I got to just lay back and, you know, everything was just done for me, basically. Like food, I had food, free time to just chill out, relax, just get my head right, basically. But the only thing that I didn't like was there ended up being much to do. Like here, I could go to the park, play football, go cinema, ride a bike, go anywhere. But over there, there isn't all that much to do.
You speak Yoruba?
Yeah, a little bit. There's not a lot. There's small.
Yeah, you're trying. What exactly do you like about Nigeria?
The vibe, everyone there together, everybody gets along with each other. It's like everybody is close to their family members.
Yeah. When you went to Nigeria, do you have more stuff to do?
No.
You did not?
No, not really.
I'd like to get your views on Nollywood.
Arguments, a lot of arguments, family crisis, thieves, murderers. Yeah, kind of the stuff that you don't want to be
What
around.
about the good stuff? I'm
Okay,
just hearing the negative stuff. Tell me the good stuff.
I'd say marriages and stuff and family life as well. Can be nice in some movies as well. And yeah.
Houses.
Yeah, houses are beautiful.
Just never been. I've been told to go, but when people use it as a threat, as in like if you fail, I'm sending you to Nigeria, it doesn't sound like a place I want to go. When you use it as a punishment, it doesn't sound like I want to go there for fun.
What did you not like about Nigeria?
The traffic, number one.
One?
That's the traffic. Let me tell you my top three. I'll say the traffic.
Okay.
Number two. What can I say? The animals. Me, I was a young boy. I didn't like all the animals about. That was number two.
No animals.
Yeah. And number three.
Yeah.
Just because as soon as we came out of the airport, there were a lot of people that wanted to carry our bags for money or something, and then I just don't like that sort of thing.
With the movies, I think they should, same as Ade, they should try to show less of the bad bits, because you see houses in Nigeria that are like really big and like nice, and that makes Nigeria look good. So I think they should try and do more of that.
When you came to London, what was the first thing that shocked you?
The houses.
Was it big or small?
It's too old. It's small.
Education, I do love the education. I won't lie. It sort of broadens your horizon, your thoughts to life.
They're trying to offer you help, like.
Yeah, it's help, but I think they followed us to a car, and they were, even when we didn't pay them, we paid them, but they wanted more, and they were put in our window, putting their hands in our window.
So they're pushing.
Yeah, they're too pushy, they're too forward.
Why haven't you been to Africa before after one?
I haven't. To be honest, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I haven't really had
Your
much
parents have not suggested.
They've suggested plenty of times, but me, I've always turned them down. It was only this year that I actually wanted to go, but mixed emotions.
Nollywood makes Nigeria seem like a bush place. It makes it seem as if no one has a life there, like everyone's just evil and bad. Like, I think Nollywood should try and portray Nigeria in a different way. Like the way America have Hollywood and everything, they portray America in loads of different ways. But I think Nigeria should try and do that as well.
What kind of changes would you like to bring?
I'll try and change the police, because it seems like they're corrupt there. So like I'll try for them to change, so they won't accept bribes. Instead they follow the law and try and abide by the rules of the police industry.
So, do you ask your friends down there about their education?
Yeah, I do a lot. From what I've heard, it's very disciplined, which is good because it teaches you strong morals, which I sometimes actually wish that I had. I wish I was actually born in Nigeria.
I would like to go visit. I'm not sure about living, but I would like to go and visit.
Well, when you say you're not sure about living, why wouldn't you want to live in Nigeria?
I don't think, because I've lived in London all my life, I don't think I'll be able to fit in with the lifestyle there.
Okay.
And also the armed robbers.
When you watch them Nigerian movies and you just get them, have them voodoo people hanging in trees and whatnot.
Oh my God!
It just gives you a perspective and puts me off a bit.
Do the police there take too much bribes, or do they even take bribes?
Yeah, they take much bribes.
Advise parents to take their kids back to Africa, maybe after their primary education here in the UK. Would you advise that?
To school there?
Yeah.
It depends on how well the child is performing. If they're performing well, it's better not to change
to another country because their education system is slightly different.
But I don't really think I want to go to Nigeria because of the armed robberies and the way they act.
The way they act? Wow. Tell me. Well, but let me know, just tell me, feel free, let me know how do they act that, you may not be very comfortable with?
The guns and if they had a daughter or something, they will rape them or sort of stuff.
What would you change?
I prefer good rulers, like because of the road, the way they drive tankers, they just come anyhow and they'll just burst into fire. Like one accident happened when I was going to school. I was at the back of a tanker, the tanker fell, fire everywhere. So I would like to stop it.
So road and safety?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Whenever tankers are passing, I will say no motor should move them, but I would like to change.
A city in Angola, which I know you must have visited, is just like London here.
There's more than one, because I live in one of the areas that is just like here.
Okay.
But there's parts where the roads are not exactly like how it is here.
Alright, so the road is a problem also.
It's a big problem.
But yeah, the road is good, so the tankers don't fall here. But Nigeria, the road is there's gallop everywhere.
Okay. Have you ever thought about maybe after your studies going back to Nigeria and maybe working there, setting up a business there?
Yeah, sure, definitely. I will probably sometime in future. I will definitely.
Yeah. I'm going back to Nigeria. I can have a business there. Yeah. I can do a business with many Nigerians. I can do anything because Nigeria is home.
If you intend to go back, do you think like you would like to go there and set up a business? Like, because of course, yeah. What changes would you want to see?
There should be good light. There should be light.
So the power?
Yeah, and there should be good roads.
So how long have you been here?
About 7 years now.
7 years?
We're taking my children down to Nigeria.
Okay.
Because my home is home.
It's home.
I want them to know where I came
Exactly.
We're lacking of power.
Okay.
So some of the business we require to do need power. Current one, steady light.
Okay.
And again, we don't have water supply.
So water is an issue.
It's an issue.
I think I will definitely go back to Nigeria.
At some point.
But the is, I will not settle down there.
Yeah, of course, I want to go back. Like as I'm here now, I have learned a lot of things. Like I'm a builder now. So every day when I go back, when I went into a place, I was just looking out, seeing things that it's not the way
it is back home.
Yeah.
Can we just ask a favor? Can you tell us maybe a little clue why you wouldn't?
Okay, my wife is Ghanaian.
Okay.
And we have a plan of starting a business in Ghana.
Okay.
So which is going to give us more opportunity to do whatever we want to do. I mean, we're going to be using a lot of electricity and stuff like that. I heard that it's very constant in Ghana. But
Okay.
It's
not in Nigeria.
So it's not going to be a good business for us if we go to Nigeria to start it.
Okay. About today is education.
If you talk about discipline in Africa as a whole, not Ghana specifically, that we have the best standard.
Did you have any sort of education in Sierra Leone?
Yes, I went nursery in Sierra Leone, and then after that I went to primary school there. So it was nice, but when I came to London, that's when I started my secondary school and college.
But here, a child can have all the necessary equipment, all the necessary infrastructure that he needs. But when he immediately left home to his school, you don't know what is happening.
Yes.
Most of the time that we see or we read about children being starved and all that.
Yes.
So I don't think this place is good for the upbringing of a child.
I think in Sierra Leone, the education is very good there because people in class, children or kids in class, they concentrate more. And everyone knows what they're there for, to come to learn, not to disturb or anything. And plus the discipline is really great because there won't be no noise in the classroom. Everyone is concentrating on what they're doing. So it's really great. Whilst here in London, it's completely different. It seems like, if you're in the classroom or if you don't show up, no one cares really.
When I was a student in Ethiopia, it was really just great. In terms of infrastructure, we don't have that much facilities. But our teachers, they are also like our parents. They have right to discipline you. They can correct you, and they can also direct you the way you
ought to go.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind of infrastructures and all that they have, because even if the African infrastructure is not up to that standard, there is no way I want my child to grow up in this place.
Here it's different, you know, just the relationship between teachers and children is a little bit, I mean, another way.
Did you have any kind of education in Jamaica?
Yes, I did.
You did? How was it?
Oh, it was fantastic. The education system out there is a lot different. We had more, you know, homework to do. And, you know, we had to do a lot of like maths and English.
When it's time for secondary school, they send their kids back to Africa to go study. And I think these are one of the things that they are running away from. So
the reason why that these people choose to send their children back home to study it's not about the standard alone. At times they go there and they pick up like some common etiquettes. Because here a child can be successful in education, but what does he have in life?
All the equipment is here in England, or in Africa, it's not the same. But we have the main equipments that we need.
In Ethiopia nowadays it's changed. Recently I've been there. You know, in the former days, like when I was in school, you know, just in terms of infrastructure, you know, we don't have that kind of facilities. But nowadays, you know, they try to just
they are making adjustments.
Yeah, and it's better. You know, it is always my desire. You know, just to send my own child to go back to Ethiopia, and just if you get, you know, just some kind of education. Why? First of all, our children, what we call them, they are children between cultures. They have a culture at home, they have a culture outside. So it's very hard, you know, just to, especially to discipline them and just help them also at home and just to adjust
to the societies, to different.
But if they got that kind of, you know, just facility, I prefer always, you know, that my children, they went to school.
Back in Ethiopia.
There was a lot of discipline if you was misbehaving, and when you're out of school, on the road, you have to behave yourself too.
I prefer the African education much better.
That's
really
a good
do.
one.
Because I know I will learn more than here. Because in England here, whether you pass the exam or not, whether you did well or not, they're still gonna make you go up to the next level.
Further friends, you know, sent their children back to their home country like Africa and Jamaica, and when they come back, they're totally different. You know, they're well behaved.
I want to work whilst now I'm in England. I want to work hard so that whenever I plan to have my kids, I'll be over there in Africa. With them whilst they're in school.
Would you like to go to study in Jamaica?
Yeah.
You would.
Hi and welcome. Today I will be discussing the stigma of mental health illness within the Black community. And I have a guest who I will be speaking to today. His name is Andy Gwating. He's had past experiences on mental illness and he'll be sharing his views with us.
I suffered mental health around the age of 19 years old. Yes. Basically, I was using recreational drugs. Cannabis, which is so class, they call it on the streets weed. And basically my parents noticed the difference with me. I was talking things which weren't making sense, you know, being argumentative towards my family and my sisters. When I was using cannabis and when things weren't working out for me, with family, when my family told me that, you know, you're not behaving, I started to realise what was going on after some time. And the main important factor was the fact that I was becoming unwell. I noticed that the signs, there were signs of me becoming unwell, like I was hearing voices, the television was speaking to me and things like that. I know that things weren't making sense.
What were you actually diagnosed with when you went to the hospital?
I was diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia.
Yeah.
So I had, there were like different kind of mental health illness. Some is depression, the highs and the lows, and schizophrenia is a bit different.
Yeah, schizophrenia is like when you're delusional, when you imagine things which are not really happening, and when you're out of control, you're a bit aggressive. They call it schizophrenia at the time.
The topic which we're discussing today is, about the stigma it has, within the black community. It must have been difficult for your parents at that time. What was their reaction about this?
My parents are they're very let down because they had a lot of faith in me. They expected me to finish my studies and to get a good job. But unfortunately, because I was unwell, I couldn't achieve them things, so they were very let down. They wanted the best for me at the time.
Yeah.
And basically, when I went into hospital, they were very, very worried about me. They wanted me to get out and to do that, to move on with my life.
Yeah.
But the only thing they could do while I was in hospital was support me through my illness, which was a very important factor for me. Because it made me have hope that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. One day I'll be able to come out of the institution and get on with my life again.
How long did you have to spend in the institution, trying to recover and get back, to your normal self?
Well, my first admission was 2 weeks, but 7 months later, after 2 weeks of getting out as a voluntary patient, I relapsed after 8-9 months.
As in 7 months later
of coming out.
Yeah.
I was continuing to use the cannabis again.
So you felt yourself slipping?
Yeah, I slipped back into the same problem.
Okay.
So then I had a long-term admission, which was 3.5 years.
Okay. Do you think within the period when you felt yourself slipping, after 7 months, and you felt yourself slipping, was it due to peer pressure? Those friends you were following, did this thing come to affect?
Yeah, there was a lot of things going on at the time. I was working, I had a girlfriend, there was a lot of things all overloading.
Okay.
I weren't living with my parents anymore. I felt very isolated at some times in my life. There was a lot of going on at the time.
So isolation.
So I could kind of understand why things happened that way now when I look back.
Okay. So after you went back to, after they took you back in and you had to spend 3.5 years. Yeah. Was that, when you came out, were you now okay? Was that the end of the...
No, I had to go through stages. What happened was when I was in the hospital, they assessed me.
Okay.
And they done CPAs, they done reviews to see my progress every 6 months.
Okay.
And basically, I had to go through a tribunal to come out of the hospital.
Okay.
Once the authorities knew that I was okay, they let me back into the community.
Okay.
But when I came back into the community, I didn't go back to live with my mum, which I wanted.
Okay.
I had to go to a hostel.
Okay.
So I went to a mental health hostel which looks after people recovering from mental illness and drug abuse.
Okay.
And people who use alcohol. So I was mixed, and with drug addicts as well. I was mixed in a place with them. Which was quite very, very difficult for me at the time, because I thought I'd never get out of there. But
because it's still within the same set of people
the environment was quite bad.
It influences you.
It influenced me, and I nearly fell into some trouble, but I had to keep strong and just find my own way. So when I was in the hostel, I found some work to do. I done some voluntary work, and I kept out of trouble. I just kept myself to myself, stayed with my family. My family came to see me on the weekends. I don't see my mum and dad.
Yeah.
And that's what helped. So after that, they saw for a period of a year of being in the hostel, they saw that I was making progress and that I was behaving myself and doing the right things.
You had this drive, you wanted to get out of
that's right. I had the determination to move forward, because otherwise I knew that I could end up in there for a very long time and my life would just go to waste. So I had to push myself with the grace of God and family support.
Yeah.
I moved out of the hostel into supported housing.
Okay.
So when I was in supported housing in Haringey, it was one of the best places in the area at the time. So I took the place.
Yeah.
The social worker got me the place.
And they gave you the assistance you needed.
Yeah, they gave me this. I was there for about 1 year and 3 months.
Yeah.
I started to work, continued doing my work.
Yeah.
Taking part in education activities.
Okay.
Then they said that I'm ready to get a flat. So I waited for about another 2 months.
So these are the stages that you
I went through
had to go through.
Yeah, I went through stages to get back to my reality. Some of the black community are educated, such as family. They understand. But people outside the family do not understand.
Okay.
People you meet outside in the street do not understand you.
When you say people outside the family, obviously your family will feel that sympathy because it's someone close to, to their heart. But people that are within the same community, or black people, do they show you that that empathy, that feeling of concern and understanding towards what you were going through at that stage?
They didn't. No.
Why did you say that?
I say that because of the fact that they seem to keep themselves to themselves. When there's a problem in a community, not everyone keeps themselves to themselves. They don't help or find out what actually went on or anything like that.
So they don't really take the time to understand what was going on or ask you questions.
Yeah.
Would you say that's due to a lack of education?
Yeah, I think it's to do with a lack of education because the community are not aware of what mental health is. There's all sorts of things that could trigger mental health. It's not just drugs.
Yeah.
Because some people do not take drugs. I've met while I was in the world and they become mentally unwell. It could be a bereavement in the family.
Yeah.
It could be maybe someone's divorced in a relationship. It could be money problems.
There's a lot of experiences.
There's a lot of different aspects why people become unwell. People got to realise that there's different reasons why people have mental health problems. And what I could say to the parents who have got kids who are suffering from mental health is to support them all the way and not to give up on them.
So this is an advice, not that
That's
you're
the
giving
advice.
to,
Not to give up. Not to give up on their children. Seek advice from the local community, such as the GP, doctors, and so that, and keep on helping them and supporting them, because they need that support. They need that network to keep them to move forward.
Yeah.
Otherwise, when there is no input into their support, they seem to drop back into the hospital situation and living amongst people who are going to set them back
to the same.
Yes. So they need support from their families and friends. There needs to be a bond with the family. There needs to be things what they could do to improve on their sons or daughters' mental health. They need to do things which is going to make them feel better, make them feel loved, and make them feel
welcomed at home.
Yeah, make them feel part of the community.
Because I think most of the time, what really stirs up that makes someone feel alone is when people tend to neglect you and do not want to pay that attention. But when they, encourage you, talk to you, make you feel connected and welcome, I think that's the first leap.
Yeah, that's the first hurdle.
That's the first hurdle.
They need to show empathy.
Yeah.
They need to show understanding, like put themselves in your shoes.
Yeah.
Because how would you like to be treated if it was you? You see, so once you treat someone with that respect, then they're gonna feel like there's worth of getting on with their life. There's worth of going to work. There's worth of doing things in the community. But when you don't understand the person, and when they're trying to explain to you what's going on, and you don't understand them, then it's not going to work. They're going to stay in that state for a longer period of time. And the cycle will continue and there'll be no progress made.
What would you say to people that look down on you, or they make you feel at home, or they make you feel welcome within that period? What would you say to them? What would be your word of advice to them if they are watching, watching the show right now?
Mental health is not something to be ashamed of. Mental health is just like any other illness, like diabetes, kidney failure, blood pressure. It's just one of those things that happen to people, and it's happened to me. But what I would like to say is that don't stigmatize people with mental health problems. They're normal people, they're everyday living people. They've got the same rights and responsibilities like anyone else in the community. And I think that we need to move forward as people now. I think we need to get this stigma away and help our community to get over these obstacles and to take part in what's actually going on with people suffering from it. I think we should look forward and not backwards. And I believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel for people suffering with mental health problems. There is always light and hope, and there's faith. Once you've got faith and hope, you can get through.
Polygamy, are you for it or against it?
I think that women should be able to have as many husbands as they want.
No,
Polygamy was like, in the early days, most of them were farmers. I mean, they had big farms and stuff. So, I mean, marrying more women, they had the advantages of giving birth to more kids. And then they used to send the kids to the farm.
So there's more labor force to do the work.
That's it.
God didn't create it that way. Marriage was an institution between one man and one woman. And even when the Pharisees went to Jesus and said, but Moses gave us a certificate for divorce. Jesus said, God did that because of the stubbornness of your heart, not because it was right. Because in the beginning, it was man and woman. It said, whatever God's put together, let no man put apart.
Are you in support of polygamy or are you against it?
I mean, with me, anything that has to do with life, I'm for it.
See, the thing is, men are so good at looking after children. Look at this.
I'm also taking care of one, trust me, I know that. But so you believe if every man takes one woman, there is enough women to go around for...
Yeah, because life is like a cycle. People are born, people die.
Okay.
So, and we can have, the right estimation as to how many women died and vice versa.
Talking about committing adultery, right? When you married one woman, you married one woman.
Yeah.
You said vows between that one woman, so it's a covenant. And what they used to do is like, in the Old Testament, they'd have the animal cut in half and walk right through between the animal. When you're making that covenant, you're saying, if I break this covenant, then do to me as this animal was. Right, so that's the seriousness of a covenant, but
it has been there from the beginning.
Even with women, they have it, but it's so suppressed that they can't express it.
I think that my point is about equality, and I hope that is clear.
We know, right? So you're going to be like, polygamy is cool, so you could have 10 wives, but as soon as that one wife decides to have more than one husband, you're going to feel a bit offended. So you know it's wrong because you're feeling offended.
Because a woman will be with a husband, but might see somebody who is also attractive. But because it's a taboo to do that, to express your interest or something, then it looks as if it doesn't even exist.
So I think, there are some women that can have several men, and there are some men that can have several women, and there are some men that one woman is more than enough, and there are some women who one man is more than enough.
It says that God, for those people who never heard, their conscience will bear witness against them. So fair enough, a woman, it might not be feasible for her to be able to go and have a child, and have 5 different children at the same time from different men. You think a man can, but as soon as that woman goes away to sleep with another man, in the man's conscience, he knows this is wrong. I'm not having it. And if you're not having it, why should she have it?
That attraction that you get for somebody is not something that you put in there.
it's a natural
It's a
stuff.
natural chemistry.
You can't do anything about it. It's just like when you're hungry. The hunger just arises within your being. It's not something that you put in there.
With David, right? God judged the child. And if you look at the anarchy that happened in David's household and his family, God said the sword will never depart from your house. So David's son killed his brother because his brother tried to rape his half-sister.
Yes.
So all this craziness, there's a lot of stuff that happens spiritually in our lives when we make certain decisions.
But people are talking about, let's say the consequences of actions. Like I spoke to somebody before, before I'm speaking to you, and he talked about the consequences. You know, if you get angry, for example, you can kill someone. So you have to put a check to your anger to just not to go that far. So is it advisable? Is it okay if we suppress, like you said, rather than just be this natural self of polygamist practices?
People forget, the world was framed by the word of God. Not just it was created, but the institutions and the principles. That's why Jesus said, when heaven and earth passes away, the word will still stand. Every principle. You wonder why people don't succeed in life is because we're operating under a curse. Because God cursed the earth from when Adam and Eve sinned.
I think anything that you suppress, you give it more power because it's like it becomes like an atomic bomb. Because suppressed energy becomes very powerful.
Like even certain traditions, I'm not for, because if there's any tradition I hold first, it's God's tradition. You know what I'm saying? To go back to Nigeria, because even in the Western world, right? The thing is with the Western world, they say don't get married. And the Bible says it's not good for man to be alone. Right? God made man and woman to get married for a reason. But, they say, sleep around in the Western world, have fun. I'm not down with that either. I'm just saying, one woman, find one wife, and stay that way.
All the marriages and the divorces in the world, the great divorces that we've witnessed in the Lady Dianas and the others, So anything that you suppress, it will eventually explode in a way. That's why there's so much arguments, in relationships. These are just suppressed emotions and suppressed feelings and stuff like that.
And so when we try to do things in how we think they should be, and then we wonder why things aren't going right, the reason is because we're operating under a universal principle that can't be changed. So, if we're going to go be polygamous, we're still going to be jealous if our wife decides to go,
go the other way.
Go the other way.
Everything that comes and goes. So for instance, if you accept someone into your life, that person came, so it's possible for that person to go.
In the Western world, right, the thing is with the Western world, they say don't get married. And the Bible says it's not good for man to be alone. Right? God made man and woman to get married for a reason. But, they say, sleep around in the Western world, have fun. I'm not down with that either.
But everything that comes goes. So for instance, if you're in a relationship and you're not really, you can feel that it is not really working anymore. The Jews have already gone.
It's sapped out.
So what do? You just have to,
eject. Put your parachute on.
If you realize that there's something that is also getting attracted to something, you can move on. You can act. You can touch. You can go ahead.
I'm just saying, one woman, find one wife, and stay that way.
Haters, envy, greed in the community. What are your views about that?
One of the major reasons why we keep experiencing all this in Nigeria is basically because of the lack of love.
The lack of love?
Yes. Because love is very, very important. Because first of all, if you love yourself, you're able to love the next person.
We do hear about haters. What are your views about people that are jealous, envy, and hating?
Yeah, that's a very sad thing, because we are all human beings. I know it's not easy to. Sometimes people don't like each other. Why? I think it's about complex. We call it in French complex.
With the haters, which I see and which I believe is when some people hate each other, is because like some people might show off with their clothes, car,
and certain things, because a lot of people out there, they try to impress their friends with like either robbing, stealing, committing crimes, just so they can impress their friends.
Secondly, because I think people have not been able to equip themselves enough to face the challenges. And when they get to see some other people being able to show progress in their area of specialty or in their own endeavors, they get jealous.
Like you could have a nice car and you could wake up one morning and your car's all scratched up. And little thing do you know, it could be one of your friends what does it.
See somebody successful and you are there sitting down, don't do anything, and then it come in your mind. So hating each other is not good, because God make us with love. Okay. We must have love inside us.
Are you saying that the reason why people hate each other can be a natural thing in us, like it's normal, in something in human nature to hate?
Yes, I can say so. Because some people, you can't tell from their face that this one, if I go, I will have a no or I will have a hand. So it's like that. It's like something like I say, natural, but it's no good.
Like I say, you get hating in all different walks of life, and you get hating in all different kind of way as well. You understand? Somebody cannot hate by you same way, and you don't even realize it. You understand?
Community or social background have something to play in terms of people acting this way.
Yes, a social background is very important, because they say charity begins at home, and where you come from is very important. Because if you're brought up in a home and you don't experience this love in the house, there's no way you can get to experience this love throughout.
But do you think there's any particular reason why someone would feel the need to hate some other person's success?
Most probably, which I think is someone would hate somebody else's success, is because they want to be like them. They can't achieve what they've got, so they're gonna hate.
So, my advice to people still is just do you, cause you understand. Do you, cause I can't do you. You can't do me.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
See what you want to do you, and you know what you need to do. You're comfortable within yourself. You don't always get the little negative energy at the same time. So that you have to just do you and be sure where I do. And know, so you know what, this is the road I want to go down, and